Let's get sassy. I'm Hallie Avolio, and this is Sassy AFTV. This week's episode is taken from a special Facebook Live interview I did with Angela Binns C, all about the autumnal equinox, which just happened last week. In part 1, we discuss what the autumnal equinox is. In part 2, we talk about the energy of this season. Lastly, part 3 is all about rituals to use during this time to call in the energy and center yourself in your spirituality and intentions. Happy fall, y'all! Just wanted to set up a little bit that the reason Angela and I felt so strongly about having this conversation today was because there is so much energy prevalent in our world, especially in 2020. We've been feeling a lot of massive changes in the energies. And if you've been kind of following along a little bit with what I've been doing recently, I've been talking a lot about the moon energy and about the new moon and the full moon. And this, of course, is all in relation to the seasons and to our physical bodies and to our emotional states, our spiritual states, our mental states. And it's all connected. So there's a lot of power when you can really understand how the larger energy works from the seasons, from the planets, from the moon, how it, intersperses with the energy of ourselves and our interactions with other, even as we mentioned before, our interactions with technology, right? It's like things shift and change, and sometimes we get all flustered and think, why today? Why is this happening? But perhaps there is a reason. So I'm really, really grateful for you, Angela, for being here, for sharing, for allowing us to witness your wisdom and learn about some of the rituals that you recommend as we go through this next season, this next time period. I also want to just invite anybody who has questions to please leave your questions in the comments. We would love to hear from you. If we can answer them as we go, we certainly will. If not, we will get them at the end or on the replay. So make sure you say hello, say hashtag replay. If you are watching this on the replay, drop your questions. We want to know where you're from, what you think about fall. If you have any favorite fall rituals yourself that are part of the harvest, or maybe some foods that you really enjoy cooking or eating or participating in. I know my family is a big fan of pumpkins and going to the pumpkin patch, so hopefully we can still do that this year. Halloween, of course, is right around the corner. So that's a little bit of the inspiration for why we're here today. So again, a huge welcome and thank you, Angela, for sharing. So let's talk a little bit about, if we can start with, what is the energy of fall? What is the energy of autumn and this time of the seasons?
Well, thanks for asking. Okay, so the energy of fall is actually twofold. So one part of the energy of fall is the one of the harvest. So what it allows us to do is, when we harvest, basically we take the fruit of what it is we've grown and we discard the rest of it that doesn't do anything for us, and we create a compost to then re-enter the earth to re-enrich dyslexia,
Re-enrich, that's hard to say.
I know, right? To enrich the earth. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is how many different ways that this is not something that's new, that even your religion, Hallie, tell me if I'm incorrect, that you've got both Rosh Hashanah and, oh my God, what's the other one?
Yom Kippur.
Which are a change of season. It's the change of your new year, and it's also an atonement, a time to go inside and determine what it is that you did well, and then for those that you did not do well, go back and say, atone for whatever you did.
There's also a harvest festival about 10 days after that. So it's all like packed together.
Exactly. So this is not something, my point here is that this is not something that we've just adopted. This has been something that's been done by the Mexicans and Mayans. It's been done. Stonehenge is supposedly a reason for it. Those stones were erected for that, to be able to watch the change of the season that way. So the big thing for us now is that, as you said, 2020 has been a really profound year. The way that we use our time, not just in terms of working, but how do we structure our time? Do we make home more important, or do we make going to work more important, or have we found the balance? The energies this year are trying to push you towards the balance. So, and then the other thing is that service.
Oh, hold on. Sorry about that.
Oh,
There we
I
go.
thought about working, but I'll get your answers. I'll get to your answers in a minute. I just want to finish my thought if I can.
Yes, please do.
And then, of course, still in the sign of Virgo, it's also about the energy of service. So, and service in a way that brings the Virgo perfection. So the Virgo is the quest for perfection, not necessarily that it's achieved. Perfection happens for yet a moment. But it's the quest, it's the journey, what you put into it in terms of getting that level of excellence, quality, enrichment, authenticity, that then can become your perfection. So this is what Virgo brings to this Virgo energy. And then the next energy, the actual date of the equinox, which is tomorrow, is beginning of Libra, which is balance. So this is where we have the opportunity during this week to utilize, number one, an opportunity to create a sacred moment to say thank you to what the summer has brought, the fact that we made it through the summer. Look, every one of us that's here, we've made it so far. Give credit.
Small, you got to celebrate the small things.
Celebrate the small things. Yes, yes, yes. So for those of you who made it the hard way, for those of you who made it through trauma, through trouble, through life, hey, give yourself props because it has been that kind of a year. It's been that kind of a year for me. I've lost very, very close members of my family. She was the light of my life. She actually would be a perfect example of how, when we talk about a human energy, about the energies that we are and the energies that are available, she knew she was going to pass. She knew that she had come to that point in her own energy where she felt it depleting. And she wanted to have, because she was one of those people that was a star. And I don't mean stars in, what you look up in the sky or what we describe as somebody on TV. I mean somebody that has that kind of energy that moves into a room and the energy in the room changed.
Yeah.
That was her. Her name was Miriam, for those of you who do remember her. And so the thing that she brought in this equinox, this autumnal equinox for the Northern Hemisphere. The summer, the Southern Hemisphere is going to be enjoying spring.
I've always been a fan of honey, but I never knew quite how powerful that sweet stuff made from bees can be. When I first discovered Beekeepers Naturals, I loved their products for their natural ingredients and yummy taste. The fact that it keeps me and my family healthy, focused, and strong is even better. My personal favorites are the Propolis Throat Spray to ward off germs, bee-powered superfood honey to support my immune system and promote mental clarity, and the Bee Elixir Brain Fuel to keep me focused and alert. These three are all part of the Hive Pharmacy Bundle, and you can save 10% using code SASSY10 at checkout. Just head to beekeepersnaturals.com and use code SASSY10 at checkout.
What foundation do I want to create for next year? So we know that even with fire, the next year, the ground gets cleaned, sometimes by water, sometimes it means mudslide. But then by spring, what do we see? Little green shoots.
Rebirth.
And rebirth. So this is what is here for you. It's for you to decide, what do you want your rebirth to be?
I love that. I love that. Can we, there's so much to get into, and I know we don't have time to dive deeply into all of it.
Yes.
But what I would really like to touch on is, can you offer us some, in addition to this reflection time, this meditation time that you're suggesting we take over the next couple of days to really think about what are we thinking the previous 9 months for? What are we looking forward to as we travel into the next season and the next year? What other rituals can we implement over the next 3 months as we lead into winter to really set ourselves up for that time of, in winter, it's our time of cuddling in, going inward, hibernation, right? You're cozy, you're inside, you're kind of keeping to yourself. Maybe you're sleeping more, right? All those things.
Absolutely.
So how do we prepare over the next 3 months, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for that winter time, regardless of the actual weather outside?
Okay, well, thank you for asking that. So I'm actually going to go through with everybody a ritual that they can set up and create for themselves. But before I even go that, allow me to address it to on a personal level. So if you're
Please.
air sign, or air sign is your field, so the voice, this is a good time for you to start thinking about and speaking what it is that you want into your life. So right now, today, as a matter of fact, we have a cardinal T-square that releases in not Capricorn. Capricorn's part of it. We have a cardinal T-square, which means it's an energy to create. So it releases in Cancer. So the sign of water sign of feeling. So for those of you who are air signs, speak about it, write about it, think about what it is that you want, and use this Virgo energy to create that list, and then the Libra energy to create balance.
Okay.
If you're an earth sign for you now is for you to, as many times as you can, connect yourself with nature. If you're somewhere that you can do so, find a way to ground yourself. Either it is by allowing your feet to touch the grass or ground if you are in an environment like that. If it is to go out walking in the evening because it's too hot during the day, still take the opportunity to reground yourself and reconnect with the earth. If you're a water sign, then again, you're going to try and do things that would be considered, that would play to that energy that you have. So taking baths, listening to soothing music, creating a journal, um, um, being creative, finding ways of not only being creative in words, but being creative in pictures and ideas of what you want to do. And if you are a fire sign, using music, using music,
Okay.
moving your body as a way. Now, moving your body, you don't want to do quick motion because now is not the time for rapid movement.
Okay.
But this is a good time for walking, for if you do yoga, different forms of yoga. For those who do meditation, meditation's a good thing to practice now, in terms of fire signs, and sometimes using things like singing bowls, using music along with your yoga, using music along with your meditation, especially one that allows you to be creative, that makes you think about what you want next. So each one of the elements I think I did. So I did air, did water, did fire, did earth, right? Okay.
You got them.
I covered everybody.
You did.
Personal level, these are things you can do over the next couple of weeks as the weather starts to change. So aside from that, there are also rituals. So one of the rituals that I like to recommend is one that involves candles. So I have a green candle because I'm a Libra rising. Aquarius sun, Libra rising, and Capricorn moon. So you know I'm having a good time. So I have a green candle of the earth. Whether you want a green candle, blue candle, water, a white candle for ideas and for purity, whatever color that you use, I would suggest to be careful about red candles. Not to say that red is not a delightful color. However, it's very, very strong, and that can bring chaos, unless that's what you like. You like chaos? Some people do well in chaos. Yes, they do. Also, to get yourself a bowl made of real metal, real material. Okay, so mine is a copper bowl. An old-fashioned one, as a matter of fact. It's been around for a while. Notice it no longer has that reddish copper. It's actually aged really beautifully. Okay. If you have ceramic bowl does well if you're an earth sign. I'm an air sign, so I love metals. Okay, they help me. And then inside that bowl, find crystals. So the crystals that line up, I could go over that, but that would take all of them. So I'll just kind of talk about the ones I have. So I have labradorite, Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful piece. Okay. So that is confidence. That's money. Put that, wait a minute, in your bowl.
Bowl, like it.
All righty. Then I have, yes, not just for romance, but I'm somebody that came through a very violent childhood and upbringing. So one of the things that's really challenging for me is self-love, really challenging. So I have not one, but two rose quartz.
I've got one too. Look right here. Can you see
There you
it?
go. Yes.
There's
Yeah.
my rose quartz.
So rose quartz, and rose quartz, the beauty of that is that new on the full moon, place them out on your sills so that the light of the moon can catch them, and that's how you recharge them. Okay, so I'll take that, put it in my bowl. Yes, right.
Clink them all around.
And then I have cornelian, okay, red cornelian that I keep on. And that's again soothe my energies and to open my sacral. See, my girl is right on there with me. I like this.
I'm right with you, girl.
Right, and then I have this one is actually a beautiful jade. It's a very deep jade.
That is beautiful. Yeah, I don't have a jade.
And this one is posterity, meaning not just money, but personal. So whatever it is that you try to develop, this will help give you the energy to do that. So you place all of those in your bowl, okay? And then you get also dried herbs. So even though I personally am not Italian, I think that's the only nationality that I don't have in me. So I've got German and Indian and Scottish and Jamaican and African and Jamaican. So I'm kind of, mongrel, but the two that I love are basil, sweet basil. I happen to love sweet basil. Okay. So sweet basil goes in and I love the smell, and oregano, right? Put those together. You use whatever works for you. Thyme works really well. Eucalyptus is wonderful if you're trying to really clear your head. Bay leaf, allspice, any one of those of those dried, put them in here with them. Okay. So then what you can do then is get a blank sheet of paper and sit down and first just take 5 easy breaths. So inhale for the count of 4, hold for a count of 2, exhale to the count of 4, 5, 6, 7, and then at the bottom, pause, bring it back in, do that 3 times. You'll actually feel it because it's actually going to send off endorphins all through your body and allow you to really connect within. And then sit and write. As that happens, ask the questions as you take your breath. What is it do I want? What is it do I need? Don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for I first. Because once you feel I, then you can give to they and we. Okay? So you write that together. Now, what you do with that is different people have different ways of doing it. Some add water and use their finger to stir it while they're thinking about what it is. So they write it down on a piece of paper, put the paper, crumple it up, put it in the bowl with all the crystals, okay? And they add water and they swirl the water until the paper is completely dampened. And then they take the water and they take it, first they dump the water somewhere else. Usually outside is a good idea as opposed to toilet. Okay? Just letting you know you don't want to flush your dreams. Okay.
Put it on the earth. The earth will appreciate the water.
Put it out the window, give it back, whatever, but I just don't suggest. Okay. And then the paper. You take the paper and you hold it, you squeeze it all together, and then you leave it inside the bowl. And you leave it with the energies of the crystals that you already have there. As to the candle, depending on whether or not it's safe, and this is one of the things I do ask people to be very careful of, depending on whether or not it's safe. If it's really not safe for you to leave a candle open, because that can have really, really, really bad side effects. When you're finished, don't actually blow it out, snuff it. Okay, as opposed to using your breath to blow it out. Okay, snuff the candle, and then go back the next day. You'll end up seeing the pages will be dry. Then read to yourself out loud for the next couple of days exactly what you have written down on that paper. And essentially now that becomes the foundation. That's the seed you're planting. so that by the time the new year comes, you don't have to ask what your resolution is going to be.
Because you already know.
You've already started it. So
Oh, I
now
love that.
say the end, thank you to the end of 2020 and be open to the beginning of 2021. So that's one of the two of the biggest rituals I think that people may be able to connect with.
I
And
love
so
that.
question.
That's really beautiful. And I just want to add one little piece, which is I know that this year has been very, very hard in many ways and in different ways for each of us. And ups, downs, sideways, topsy-turvy, all of it, right? But I just want to remind everyone that we have to be patient and we have to trust the process and we have to trust the universe. And these sorts of rituals are really, really beautiful because it takes it inward and it takes the expectations to a space of what do I want? What serves me? What makes me feel good? How can I be of service, right? As opposed to external validation of when will this stop in the world? When will this change? I need this to stop. We cannot control the external. We can only control the internal. So when you can focus your intentions upon your values, your service, your love, and what makes you feel good, whenever this evolves into some sort of less constricting sort of situation, it will all be good. But I just want to remind everyone that we can't put arbitrary numbers out there, such as in 2021, everything will be better. And let's hope so, but we don't know for certain. So all we know is that we can know ourselves. So what I love about this ritual so much is that you're asking us to go inward and you're asking us to go deep here in our hearts. And really, truly, if we know anything, that's what we know. We know what's deep and true in our hearts. And if we are true to ourselves, then the rest of it, I believe, will all fall in line as it should. So
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that for my
Thank you for saying that, because that also gives me an opportunity to bring in that when the heart and the mind, when the heart, which is essentially your soul, comes to serve the ego, the mind, that is when you're in your power. That is when you see things happen and change. And I agree with you. You know, this has been a year for some people of nothing but loss. And I'm not trying to tell you to pretend like that loss doesn't hurt. I know of a couple of people that are going through it right now. They're going through difficulties. They're feeling extremely challenged, both for themselves and their family members. You know, I have a friend who discovered today during her checkout for, we check out the boilers in places that have that kind of weather. And she had the annual check and they found cracks in her system, which meant that she had to replace it. She had two ways of looking at it. She could have looked at it as, oh my God, that was something else. Right. Or the way that she looked at it, which I loved it, is that she looked at it as, I'm so glad they found this now before it really got cold. Right. So it gives me a chance to take care of it.
Thanks for getting sassy with me today. If you are feeling the sassy AF vibes, give your girl a shout out on all the social platforms. Did I tell you I just joined TikTok? Don't forget the tags, you know the drill. Even better, text this episode to your bestie so she can listen too. Big love to you, sister. See you next time.